You know what's really funny? I like this random spot where nothing is happening in the beginning. Oh, Joni's already here. Jona. Hi, I know that guy. Hold on. Let's do this. We'll get Jona set up. We'll rock and roll. We're so pro.
Yeah, stop.
What if we could turn this song into a school and change hundreds of lives forever?
There's no tension in solace. There's no way that this pattern could do any harm. Here with you. Here with you.
All right, so we got Jona on this morning. We're starting a little bit early. I got one more little short video to play, and then we'll rock and roll. Brian's still asleep. He's always this boring. That's Brian back there, by the way. Anyway, so thank you guys very much for joining us. We see your comments there. Make sure you throw your wax address in the comments and share this out because I got some Uplift Art stuff to give away. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Cheers, Jona. Uplift Art's goal is to raise $450,000 in 2021 to build Haitian Roots a third school. That's something that Blue and I talked about, a lot. And when I realized that, after the I'm Not the Bubble drop, we raised like $27,000 for Haitian Roots to feed kids in Haiti. It was a huge eye opener for me personally. And we were on a call with the head lady at Haitian Roots, and they were saying, a huge goal for them was to build a school. And we just started, brainstorming like crazy. Like, what if we could turn NFTs and music and creativity into a freaking school like that? What? And that's the goal in 2021. We need to raise $450,000. This event, 50% of all the revenue that comes out of Uplift Art events goes into straight to that charity account, so we can actually watch it grow. And I actually brought that up. I was going to show you guys this. It's something you can actually see in real time. You go to Blocks. Blocks.io, BLOKS.io, and you can actually check the account. This is actually it right now. There's 232. Holy crap, dude! What? There was like 5,000 earlier today. Okay. Wow. Okay. So anyway, there's 232,000 in Uplift Donate right now. There's 9,000 US. Towards our goal, and that's without the price of wax moving at all. And so this is the journey of our year, 2021. We're going to raise $450,000 for this school, and we're pretty freaking stoked about it.
Well, I'm like one of those optimistic guys. I have a feeling that wax will hit $1 this year.
I think so too.
And if it does, then that school is pretty close to being built. Right?
We're half. Yeah. If wax hits $1, we're halfway there already, which is crazy fast. So by the time we do, the Spaceman, drop is going to produce a bunch more. We've already got the Tiamo drop. The stuff that you made with your wife. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait to spend money on that one. That's going to be good. Not too long after that, we've got the Solace drop, which again, like I'm going to be releasing. Probably my best tune ever as a single, and we'll have a bunch of art from inside the Uplift that is going to get attached to that, and right, like we got a whole schedule. So I'm feeling really confident that we're going to be able to pull this off before we launch the Uplift.world, where 10% of all land sales is going to be going right into Uplift Donate. Like it's just going to be fired right at the school mission. So it's going to be good. All right. How you doing, man?
Hello, guys. Doing great.
Welcome. Sorry, we're just like testing this new intro situation out. So welcome to Tech Talk on a Tuesday. We tried like so many different names, and we just fell in love with Tech Talk on a Tuesday. And
that's the first ever episode, and I think it's telling that you're our first guest, and people will soon see why after we get going. Because we're so honored to have you here, Jona. One of our favorite people in the space by far.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, so Jona, one thing I'm getting all of our guests to do right off the bat is just tell me one thing that you are really grateful for this morning.
Oh wow. I mean, there's lots of things. Honestly, the thing I'm really grateful for is like throughout this last half year, I've just been able to build cool stuff that I'm really passionate about. And because I'm growing up like in a good family and I've been able to focus so much on this without any financial struggles in the background, we've achieved so much. I think that's something I can be really grateful for.
That's awesome, man. All right, so
Can you fit that all in there?
no. Now, what's the version of that that'll fit on a Minecraft sign?
Oh, on a Minecraft sign, that's hard. I mean, having people around me that are able to support me so that I can focus on the things I love to do. And now maybe even that is too long for a Minecraft sign.
But like being supported so you can focus on
How about family and friends supporting my passions?
I think that's pretty good.
All right. On it. All right, so this is going up in the uplift. It'll live here forever.
Nice.
So while Clark looks that up, I guess welcome to the first EOSIO Weekly Tech Talk on a Tuesday. Jona from Pink.network and Atomic Assets, Atomic Hub. I think those are the only places that you are in the space at this point.
Those are, pretty much.
And so back to what you're thankful for. I guess you're referring to probably these two projects. In particular, would it be Atomic Hub and Atomic Assets and what you've been doing with NFTs?
Yeah, definitely. Because we've been putting in, like we, as in Fabian and I, we're both co-founders of this thing. And we've both been able to put in lots and lots of hours in the beginning, especially without any financial compensation, just because we both are in a situation where we didn't really need the money. We could focus on this just as we want to do this. And now it's starting to be financially viable. But if we had to focus on money from the first moment, then there's no way this would have happened at all.
Yeah, I've been experiencing the same kind of thing. I mean, I've been a musician for a long time. Obviously, there hasn't been a whole lot of gigs over the last year, and like my wife's a super smarty pants. She's a neurological pharmacologist, something smarty plant. You know what I mean? She makes good money. Long story short, like I had the time and space to do what I wanted. And she's awesome too. She's just like, do whatever moonshot you want to make a universe in Minecraft, freaking have at her, you weirdo. Right. So like, I was afforded the space to do that. And it really is, it's an amazing privilege to be able to do that. It makes me want to like maximize it. Right. Like I can work on this stuff nonstop now. Just because I want to turn around one day and say, "Hey, Babs," that's my nickname for my wife. If you don't want to go to work tomorrow, you don't have to, because that would be hilarious. That would be really funny if we could do that with magic internet money and NFTs.
It's nice. Interesting because I'm on almost the opposite side of the planet in many respects here, because I work like full time and then I do this like in my off time. But I was preparing for the world to end. I studied permaculture in Australia and New Zealand. I had a huge, massive apocalypse garden. I was planning on, moving to Europe or somewhere where I could, grow food and be in kind of a good community that supports those kinds of things. And the apocalypse never came. And then I kind of found cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And then the apocalypse came to everywhere except Japan. And here we are now. So it's kind of funny. Like, you said you wanted your wife to be able to quit their job. I'm sure Jona has, things with his family. For me, it's like, I want to quit my job and move like somewhere where I can like just do this in my free time and grow mangoes and stuff, like, so But I think, like, speaking of growing, I'd like to ask you, Jona, because I don't even, maybe Corey knows, but I don't really know what Pink Network is. So would you like to maybe explain that one too at some point in time?
Yeah, so Pink Network is like the company that we founded when we started with this. And initially we had no plans for NFTs. So Pink Network was just, we were active on in the Wax ecosystem. Then we started being a guild, so a block producer on Wax. And now, like, at this point, we're probably like known for Atomic Assets and Atomic Hub, which is like our big thing that we developed. But initially that wasn't our plan. So Atomic Assets is a standard that we developed. Atomic Hub is a site that we run, but our company is Pink Network.
Corey, this could be us someday. We just started some random YouTube channel and we become, professional media moguls. I don't know.
Crazier things have happened to lesser people. Let's put it that way.
I like it. That's interesting. Like that you didn't have the idea of Atomic Assets. I mean, I kind of feel like I found out about Atomic Assets a little bit late, and Atomic Hub a little bit late. And I think I first read about it like 4 days after you released it. Like, I was like the amount of stuff that you guys put into that just, like, in my opinion, changed the ecosystem. Like,
I agree.
Multitudes. Like, it's just the difference between night and day. And like, for those of you that don't know this, you've helped us a lot with the Uplift Art projects, and I'm sure you've done that for multiple projects. Like the amount of assistance that your team, I think, is giving and providing to the ecosystem as a whole is just amazing. Like, I don't know how you guys do it all, to be honest. Like, I mean, it's really impressive what you guys have accomplished. And like, you guys have, in my opinion, you guys are kind of like the Binance of NFTs. Like, that's kind of how I like to describe Atomic Hub. I could be wrong, but that's kind of the way that I feel, honestly.
I think that's a great compliment.
I would have to agree with it, especially like in our community. I have tried out a couple other places where NFTs live. And really, the only serious time was just because there was land for Alien Worlds that I needed to get my hands on that was somewhere else. But that was it, right? And like, tried it out. They're okay. But the second I got on Atomic Assets, everything just made sense. I could make my own NFT, and that was fascinating. And I've just never left. And it seems like, the network effect is always really intense, right? So like, eventually, usually one platform gets an outsized share of that. And it really seems like Atomic Assets is just going to be that. Like, I don't see anybody else really competing. Is there anything that that you see in the ecosystem now that that would foster more decentralization, or do you think that it basically, because it seems to me that it would make more sense as a project runner to just focus on Atomic Hub?
So I think that actually ties into tech. So the marketplace that we use for Atomic Hub is actually, we don't have an Atomic Hub marketplace. We have Atomic Market, and Atomic Market is an open smart contract which anyone can use. So Atomic Hub is one of the users of Atomic Market, but for example, Collectibles also uses Atomic Market in the back end, which means that you list something on Collectibles, it's also visible on Atomic Hub. You buy something on Atomic Hub, maybe it was listed on Collectibles, which, like, in terms of the network effect, as you mentioned, might be like a bad thing to do for the big site, Atomic Hub, but we believe this is actually very beneficial to the ecosystem as a whole, because it, like, everything ties in together. And we're not saying that we're the ultimate marketplace. Like, someone could create a marketplace that is just as good, perhaps even better, or perhaps they focus on different things. And then, like, the whole ecosystem can grow more because it's all connected. And we don't just huddle everything towards Atomic Hub. We're just Like if someone wants to develop an awesome marketplace for Alien Worlds NFTs and they really focus on those, like that's amazing. Then all the Alien Worlds traffic goes there, but the user experience is way better.
That's really, really cool. So someone could maybe there's like a family of places. So our planet maybe. So maybe our planet, of course, they're staking 5 or 6 different products now, Alien Worlds, Tribal Books, all those things. Soon to be Uplift Art, by the way, everyone, in a couple of days. So they could take your platform, the guts of it, and just make a trading platform that would focus on the projects that are in their ecosystem, maybe. Now, could they run that on Ether, or would it have to be Wax?
No, it would be on Wax. So it would be on the same chain, but like essentially liquidity is shared. And also development costs for them are a lot lower because we've already built it.
Yeah. With the so it's built on the Wax blockchain, but could they use their Ether cryptocurrency, which if I'm not mistaken, that's on Wax too. Just as far as or does it have to be Wax as the trading currency?
It would still be on Wax. And then like bridging Ether over to Wax, for example, like that's a whole different topic, which might happen. Wax team has also recently published their roadmap, which includes bridging ERC 721 NFTs over to Wax, something like this. Like at some point, that's also going to happen probably where you would essentially wrap NFTs probably. So like you have an NFT on Ethereum, you want to bring it over to Wax because you're tired of paying gas fees. So you deposit it to some smart contract and get a copy on Wax, something like this. Like a lot of exciting stuff will still happen there. Not right now.
Okay.
So I actually, that brings up a question that I kind of wanted to ask because, you guys are primarily focused on Wax, but you do have a platform that deals with EOS NFTs as well. And I was just curious about in the future, if you see, because so last night we had Michael from EOS USA on, and I promised I wouldn't rant today, so you'll notice a change in the voicing. But I went on.
Nobody believes that.
Nobody believes that. But I went on a bit of a rant, and my thing was yesterday about the fact about interoperability, right? And EOSIO in general being an IBC network. And so my question is, do you foresee at some point in time the ability for NFTs to cross over various networks, both within EOSIO, but you brought up the fact that, I guess with the new Wax wallet and the porting of Wax tokens over to Ethereum to be able to use in the DeFi, if all goes well for Wax holders, the opposite will be true. And maybe, like you just said, Ethereum-based NFTs or tokens can be brought into the Wax ecosystem in the same way. I guess my question to you is, do you see a future where NFTs themselves could be moved from one chain to another? Is this something that's possible or something that's been thought about in the developing of EOS marketplace, which you guys also developed?
Yes. So bridging from one EOSIO chain to another is comparatively simple. It's still very hard, but because the tech is the same essentially, it's a lot more viable to bridge them over. The only thing that we did for this so far is that on Wax, all asset IDs, they started at one point. On EOS, they start at another point, so that if we eventually bridge them over, asset IDs won't overlap. So that's something that we thought about. And it's something that eventually we want to do. So there are some technical challenges, or quite a few technical challenges, but we're confident that those can be overcome. It's just a matter of when do we have the time for that. So bridging from Wax to EOS, I'd say it's more or less a certainty that it's going to happen. It's very uncertain when it's going to happen though. And then bridging from Wax or any EOSIO chain to Ethereum, or like either way around, also possible, but then you have more challenges to solve because the standards are different. So you have to, like, in atomic assets, you have collections and they have templates. Like on Ethereum, that doesn't exist. So how do you map those things together that they, in a way that still makes sense? So those are like design decisions that you need to make when bridging from one technology to another, whereas bridging from Wax to EOS, there aren't really any design decisions to make. It's just like, how do we do this?
Yeah, sorry. I forgot my headphones, and I noticed when I listened to our video back yesterday that there was a lot of feedback, so I'm trying to mute myself. So yeah, I apologize. But yeah, I think that's going to be really interesting to see how that happens, because the reason I asked that is yesterday we were talking a little bit about gaming, and you know, the key kind of NFT selling point is, or was, games, right? You could own these assets or these cards or these in-game items that you could be able to port. But in the future, I think, you know, there's not going to be one blockchain that rules them all. I mean, I hope there isn't, because, you know, there's benefits to multiple blockchains, but it would be nice to be able to have, you know, Alien Worlds has kind of done it with what they're doing on Ether and Wax at the same time. I'm sure other projects will be doing it as well, but yeah, I'm really happy to hear that answer. I'm not going to say my idea, because if it's good, then I don't want to ruin it. I'll just tell you in private. Yeah, I think it's a really exciting thing. So and then I kind of want Corey to, I know Corey's got a couple questions for you as well, but I wanted to ask one more question, which kind of always kind of threw me for a loop. I mean, I guess I'm kind of assuming that most people who are tuned into this kind of know what atomic assets is, but because, you know, and Blue and Corey have made multiple videos for Uplift Art. People have seen, you know, the network and how it works, and you're kind of, I think, become a bit of a household name at this point. But one thing that I really liked about what you guys did with your platform and with NFTs was you allowed the backing of tokens to an NFT. So for those of you that might not get what this means, it means that I could take Wax and I could put it into the NFT. And I mean, for me, when I think about this, the possibilities are essentially endless. Like, you know, people ask about, you know, being paid in Bitcoin. You know, when can I get paid in Bitcoin? I mean, maybe I'm working at a, you know, convenience store, and the only reason I'm doing it is because they're paying me in Alien Worlds NFTs. I don't know, but I think it's kind of cool, like that concept, right? Like, and I've had multiple ideas, like, you know, on how projects could utilize this, right? Like how you could continually back NFTs with more tokens. Like I could send Corey an NFT, he could add more tokens to it. He could send it to you, you could add more tokens to it, right? And then when you burn that NFT, the tokens get released. So that was one of the things that I really liked about your project, but I don't see it being used that much, number one. And number two, sorry, you're on mute, Corey.
I was trying to be polite. Yeah, I'm wondering, like, I have some ideas about that, but I would love to hear from you, Jona, what you see the use case for that, or the potential use cases, right? Because I mean, I'm sure we can use our imagination to come up with some. Sorry for interrupting, and then doing so.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the perfect use case. I can imagine that it's very useful for like games that really focus on this. What I could imagine, for example, you have your game where you have game NFTs, and like while you're using them Wax get back to it, for example. And then the user has to decide, like, is it worth it to burn it now, or do I still want to keep it and use it? And I think there can be some very interesting mechanics. And the reason why we were like happy with adding it, like in within the standard, because atomic assets as a general design principle is very lean, where we didn't add any like specific use case features that would make it all more complicated. We wanted to keep it simple. But adding that can essentially be ignored if you don't care about it. Like if you don't care about NFTs being backed, then great, just ignore this number. Like nothing changes from a way you deal with the NFTs. And then if you have a project where you think of a really clever way to use these backed tokens, then you can use it. And because it's directly within atomic assets, like it's displayed on Atomic Hub, users can see it, and it works in a very integrated way. And I don't have the perfect use case, but I'm very happy that it's there, because I'm sure someone will find very, very smart use cases for it.
I like that you build that way, right? Like we're just going to build this feature in and leave people open to start using their imagination. It's actually a lot of conversations that we're having about how to organize the uplift .world are going in the same way. Like we want to set boundary conditions that really allow groups and communities and builders and landowners, and then it's just basically just to start creating a bunch of really, really cool relationships on their own. Sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I've got a million use cases for it, and I like thinking about like how it could work in different games and different elements. I mean, I've got 3 use cases to protect the uplift users from Ken Bozak, who we'll have on the show tomorrow night. So remind me, and I'll tell him. I'll tell you how we can, basically sell get out of jail free cards that, like, when they fall in his traps, a little bit of wax is released so they can get out. I think it's good, but I always thought, like, I like the idea of one of the I'm not a developer, I'm not a builder, but one of the ideas I always had that I always envisioned in my head, I'm assuming it's possible, is like having a contract, like you said, that every time the NFT transferred hands, whether it was in the game or whether it was like during gameplay, a little bit, like a small percentage of wax would be added to the back of that. Almost like a financially viable game of hot potato in a way. Like, you might battle someone, and then, a little bit of, what was the game we were talking about?
It's the Van City was, they're talking about like burning the losers NFTs, which I really like so creating more stakes, but then adding some, like a little bit of the prize money maybe to the actual NFTs that won.
Or even like you could go into like a battle royal. You could back the NFT with 100 wax, and every time you lose, a little bit of that wax comes off. You're not allowed to recharge it, right? Like you could have like a battle royal tournament. Like I'm just pulling things out of nowhere here, but I like the concept. I mean, I can't count the number of times like I'm just driving to work and I'm like, how can I utilize an NFT that's backed with wax? Like we need like top 10 lists like David Letterman and stuff. I think there's going to be like a big, like Corey said, a big heavy use case that like maybe you didn't even think of, maybe we didn't even think of. Like somebody's going to take that and it's going to be brilliant, and they're just going to run with it. So
is there any way to kind of link in the Telos T-Bond idea? Like, is there a way to maybe do a timed release so you could have like a, this is, wax that you're going to stake for, I don't know, 6 months or something? Is there anything that would work there?
I don't know exactly how T-Bond works, but I think I can imagine what it is in general. And that wouldn't work directly within the Atomic Assets contract, but it would work if you just create a new smart contract where you, in some way, like you transfer the NFT there and then it's staked in there or something like this. So like,
right,
you can build a lot of stuff on top of Atomic Assets, where once again, and that's also a design principle when we created Atomic Assets. Like if you can build it with a third-party smart contract, then we're probably not going to include it in the main smart contract because, like I said, we want to keep the main smart contract lean. And if you can then build it on top of that, like, why build it into it if you can also build it on top of it later and then keep the core simple?
I like it. I think I just thought of a great first use case for a backed NFT. I think we can create our own NFT, like a really cool one, Corey, and then we can give it to our sponsors, and they can back it with like 1 million wax. And then every day we go live, like 1,000 wax will be released to our account. And if we don't go live, then the NFT does a Mission Impossible automatically self-destruct.
I mean, that sounds somewhere between really good and insane, which probably means that it's good. I like it.
I like it. Yeah. So Jona, that's really cool. The other question I wanted to ask you too, which always confuses me, if it's okay. Sometimes there's a pop-up window on Atomic Hub when you make a purchase that you have to click the OK button, and it says like that. I can't remember the exact wording. I should have taken a screenshot, but it says something to the effect of, these NFTs might not be, or you need to verify that these NFTs are actually legit from the creators of the project, as opposed to like, spam NFTs, because anyone can potentially create a spam NFT, right? And we've had this kind of conversation, all of us, I'm sure, with people who are blockchain people, and they say, well, why don't we just take a screenshot, right? Like, I mean, that's not the point of having collectibles, right? So my question is, have there been cases, or is there a way for users to tell, like, for example, on Twitter, there's like a little check mark beside like users that are registered. Like, is there a way to tell what NFTs are legit from the projects on Atomic Hub versus what NFTs might be scammed? Like, I'm just kind of, sorry, I don't mean to be putting ideas in anyone's head. That's not the case. I just want users to be informed of like what to look out for when they're on your platform to know what's coming and what's real.
We actually do have check marks. We stole that from all the other social platforms. So we do have a 2-tier verification system on Atomic Hub, actually. So if you create your collection, it's just not verified. It's just nothing, more or less. Like, there's no special flag on it. And then we can give it a level 1 verification and a level 2 verification. And to get that, you like contact us you fill out a form, and then we take a look at the collection. And basically the way we intend it to be used is as like, if it's verified, then good. You should still research like that you like the project and that you actually want to buy something from this project. We're not making promises that the project is any good. We're just making promises that it's legit. So like, people submit their collections. We give them a level 1 verification. Level 1 verification means the collection will show up when users search for only verified NFTs, which they do by default. And then you still get like a small info box telling you this collection is level 1 verified, but not level 2, please double check. And the idea behind that is like, we try to make sure that we only verify genuine creators, but there's nothing stopping them from, after they have the verification, like turning evil and still creating bad NFTs. So that's why we still tell users, please double check. Like, we can't check it for you. You need to check it. And then level 2 verifications are for the very big projects like Uplift Art, Blockchain Heroes, Cox, all of these. They are level 2 verified, where we are thinking like, these projects are so big, the odds of them turning bad right now and creating spam NFTs are very, very low. So we don't even display warning messages to the users anymore. They should still make sure that they like the collection. So if you buy a Blockchain Heroes NFT, you should be aware of what this NFT does and if you actually like it. We can't do that for you, but at least you know, like, it has this orange check mark, so it's the genuine collection. It's not just some fake Blockchain Heroes collection.
Great. That's it. Like, that's an excellent response. Thank you for clarifying that, because I always kind of wondered like what the idea behind it is, but that was, yeah, perfect. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, as we go on forward in time, people may try to, I mean, people have been doing it for years. They've been copying music, pirating DVDs. I mean, it's only a matter of time until the same tricks start showing up in the blockchain space.
Yeah.
So it's good that you guys have put that warning on there, that you're open, that you're not saying, oh, this is like these, you're verifying projects based on their teams, which isn't a 100% guarantee, but at least it's something to keep the users safe. Because crypto can be scary. Like in a Telegram channel that I moderated today, somebody popped in and said, I can't access my private key, and like I have $17,000 worth of EOS like in my account, and like, can someone help me get it out? And luckily enough, there was a user that right away jumped on it and said, dude, if anyone PMs you, do not respond. This guy's trying to take your money, right? And he's like, well, who do I trust? Like, how can I trust? And, so I went in and I said, look, DM someone who's admin in this channel. And if they DM you first, it's out, but DM them, number one. And number two, don't give them your private key. If anyone says they need your private key to help you, they're not helping you. No one needs your private key, right? Never give that away, right? On Wax, it's a little bit easier, because you have the social logins and stuff like that. So I think, our job in a way, Corey, I think, because you always mention we have a lot of new users. I mean, I think, we can't guarantee anything either, but we want to try to make this environment as safe for all the users as possible. We want people to have fun, as I'm sure you do as well, Jona. So yeah, thanks for that great explanation.
Yeah, and we already did see like some scam collections pop up where they just copy another collection, mint NFTs in the hopes that someone confuses them and buys them from them. But because we have this verification system in place, like by default, users only see verified assets. So that filters out the majority of them. And as I said, we can't monitor it all, and we shouldn't have to monitor it all, because at the end of the day, NFTs are meant to be decentralized. But we want to make sure that the experience for our users, like you say, it should be safe. And I get that the whole scene is scary at first. It's like there's so many things that aren't really refined yet, and it's okay to be scared, and it's probably good to be scared, because that means you don't make like naive mistakes. And we're trying to do our best to keep our users as safe as we can.
Yeah. Yeah, that I've seen that with you guys. So I want to go back to you were talking about design principles for when you were creating Atomica, and the first one being if basically around simplicity. If it can be done in a different smart contract, let it be done so it could be lean. Are there any other design principles that you can remember off the top of your head?
Yeah, one of the core design principles was to keep RAM cost low, whereas the NFT standards that existed before Atomic Assets, mainly simple assets and DGOTs, they are not designed for RAM efficiency. And RAM is the system resource on EOSIO that you need to pay when you want to store data. And like obviously, if you want to store an NFT on the blockchain records, you need to store it in a table. That's how it works in EOSIO, and you pay RAM. So one of the principles was to keep this cost low. That's why we have a whole serialization code in Atomic Assets. Like the way that we store data of NFTs is very efficient, whereas in simple assets, for example, you usually just store it as a JSON string, which might not mean anything to some of the people watching, which might mean a lot to people, the developers that are watching. But it's easy, but it's not very efficient. So we wanted to make sure that is efficient. And then another thing is that users never have to pay for the RAM cost. It's only the creators paying for the RAM cost. That was also very important to us. And actually something in the beginning we weren't sure about, then decided that it's probably a better idea to never have the user pay for the RAM, always the creator. And like immediately after launching, it became obvious that this was definitely the right choice.
Yeah.
Because like EOSIO with CPU and net and RAM, like all these things, they're complex enough. Like, don't give the users errors because they ran out of RAM. That's not a great experience. They should just be able to use it without having to worry about all of this.
Yeah, it's essential for any other developers out there. Just remove that as a possibility. Users don't need to see it. They're not going to understand it anyway. And I think that, project runners are more than happy to take on that cost to make an experience for their users that doesn't, crush them. Yeah, like we were, playing around with Schipple on mainnet. Like CPU killed the whole community. We had 2,000 people that were active in that community, and like a good 90% of them were total noobs. The second the CPU errors started coming, it just stopped. The whole thing just like literally fell on its face. So I'm very happy that you guys are doing that. And I think other teams are kind of figuring that out as well. But that's fantastic. I mean, it just boils down to user experience, right? The end user. We all talk all the time about we want to onboard. Well, onboarding people and then smashing them in the face with a CPU error that they're not going to understand without 2 hours of Googling, right? It's not how to do it. So I'm really happy to see that you guys are working towards that as a principle.
Yeah, as Michael mentioned yesterday, he kind of said, I forget his exact quote, but he made a really good point. He said essentially like a lot of what happens on EOS with the getting of the accounts and then the CPU, it's like you're basically locking the door, closing the door, and then wondering why people aren't coming in. So I think you guys have done a pretty good job at that. I just want to point out in the comments, going through the comments, any observations in the house? So yeah, thanks for joining us. He, is a regular kind of on our show, and he made the comment that if you're watching this back later on YouTube, you won't see it. He made the comment, they say ETH NFTs might come to Wax before the summer. So as you know, Jona and Corey, he's probably the Wax media mogul of all time. I mean, he's on top of the game. He kind of knows what's going on. So I hope you're right. And Kiefer is in the house as well. If it's the Kiefer, I think it is. Thanks for joining us. That's exciting. We'd like to have you on at some point. I was actually thinking about reaching out to you. If it's the Kiefer, I think it is. That would be awesome. And yeah, thanks for all the great comments, Lama, 4/6s, and all the other people. So that's all I wanted to say. If you got something.
Oh, hello, Wax. Yeah, no, so two questions. One, and you just pick one that you want to answer or answer both. One, what are you spending most of your time doing now? And two, what are you most excited about that is sort of next up on your roadmap?
Spending most of my time like in December and beginning of January, pretty much all of my time has been spent working with blockchain heroes, with Cox, with King of Rap, with HODLGod, with the Horrors, like with all these projects which all launched their packs on Atomic Hub together with us, like working with us. That's what I've spent the last month and a half on. Like working with them, getting all their packs set up, working on getting the odds right, setting all of that up, making sure that it works on launch day, which for the most part it has. And what I'm most excited about, and I've been excited about this for like half a year, but we've never gotten to it, is to finally rework the NFT creator and add to that a pack creator where every user will be able to create their packs directly on Atomic Hub. Like the NFT creator, it's honestly crazy to me how many people are still using it, because I find it so horrible. Like everything about it is bad. The code is horrible, the experience isn't great, and people are still using it. And
it works. Like I'm a dummy, and I figured it out within an hour with some help from some cool people. Actually, probably even you when I came to the Telegram channel. Like there's a thing about templates I didn't really get. Now I get it, right? But once you get it, like it's still like I haven't seen anything that's remotely as easy anywhere else in the market. So I love the fact that you guys are already thinking like, how do we do that? And I get asked all the time, like, how do I make packs? Like Ken Bozak has been, jumping on me about that or whatever. So that'll be amazing too.
Yeah, so like reworking the NFT creator in general, just so that it gets easier. It's a more guided experience, because like you say, you figured it out within an hour, which like perhaps compared to other projects that's good. But still, an hour is a really long time to figure something out. It should be quicker than that. And I think we can make it a lot easier with a better user experience if we just rework it. And we will. And we're working on getting someone else on our team, like an additional developer, so that we can handle more things at once. And I'm really looking forward to that, because like the NFT creator, that's actually the one part where I've written the code in Atomic Hub, and you can tell that I'm not a front-end developer. Fabian is a front-end developer. Everything that he does is clean and it works. The NFT creator, there's so many horrible things going on. I'm just so glad it is going away at some point. And then obviously the pack creator, I know that people will be loving it, like being able to create their own packs, so that like they can set the odds, they can set the outcomes of their packs, create them. The packs will be NFTs themselves. Then they just sell these NFTs or transfer these NFTs to someone else, and they can just click a little unbox button and get the pack experience that they already know from Atomic Hub.
Yeah, I think that's I especially rant about that a lot on this channel. One of the downfalls I think about EOS in general, the mainnet, is that it's just so complicated. Like once you're in there, it's great, but like to have people that are like coming from Ethereum saying that EOS is complicated to get an account, you have problems, right? So I think like Wax is good. And as Llama 46 has said, it's so much easier to onboard users when creators shoulder the cost. And I think this is what you guys have done right with the NFTs. This is what Wax IO in general with their Wax Cloud wallet has done with the whole chain in general. I mean, it's not really happening on the mainnet. Wombat does it, which we love Wombat. But other than that, like, I mean, in my opinion, that's what blockchain should be. And Corey says this a lot, like, not financial advice, but sell your EOS and buy your Wax, because right now that's the usable chain. This is where people are. This is where things are happening. And don't get us wrong, we love EOS. But like, EOS needs to maybe take a lesson from Wax in this regard, to not necessarily for NFTs, but like to get them onto social media, voice, and things like that. They need those user-based creator accounts, and they need that ease of onboarding, and they need teams like you who support the. Okay, I'm just going to say it. They need teams like you who support other people in the ecosystem, as opposed to just trying to monopolize the whole thing. And I won't name any names, but if you tuned in last night, you know who I'm talking about. So that's kind of the end. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this ecosystem grows and how much a part of it you guys are. I'm just curious if you have any developments in the works that might be new and something for people to look forward to.
I mean, like, we have a to-do list that is miles long, and it just keeps getting bigger. And that's just for Atomic Hub. And I've said that a couple of times in a couple of interviews in the past. The reason why we even created Atomic Assets is because we wanted to build NFT games. I have no idea if we're ever going to get to that now, because like, we're so focused on building the ecosystem and have no time, no capacity for building an actual game. I would be really passionate about building a game at some point. It's probably not going to be a great financial decision, because like right now we should really be focusing on Atomic Hub, but maybe at some point we can actually get to building a game and build something that is fun for the users and fun for us as well. Maybe that's coming. Maybe we just keep building Atomic Hub, making that better, and let all the other projects do the games. I don't know.
We are in the back of our minds constantly. I think about this all the time, just based on the conversations that we had before, getting to work on it. Like there's a giant tract of land inside the Uplift, just waiting for you guys to do whatever the hell you want to do with it. Like, just period. Nice. It's just like, here's the region. It's the size of a small continent. Go to town. But yeah, no, I would love to see what games you would come up with, because you're in there balancing out everybody else's projects, right? Like, it's clear that you understand, the mechanics behind you, like you're helping literally everyone. So anything that you guys put out in that, like even if it's a couple of years from now, right? Obviously, you got 18 gazillion things to do with this, but there's another crypto winter coming in a couple of years. Hopefully things quiet down a little bit, and we can get to grinding out, the next level up.
Well, if you're only in EOS, you're still in the middle of crypto winter. But
it's not even spring yet. Sad.
But I think, I'd love to see you guys do something in the uplift. I think that would be really cool.
Or anywhere, really. I just it'd be cooler, selfishly, if you guys came to it. I'd be able to buy and check it out.
But I like it. You actually, and this is a compliment. I do think he's a brilliant guy. I think he's amazing. I give him a hard time a lot. But you remind me of a little bit of a young Dan Larmer. I built Atomic Assets because I want to use it. And I think that is what makes the best product. That is what makes the best developers. That is what makes the best thinkers, right? And I think we see that a lot more with blockchain than traditional businesses. Like you said, a lot of people in traditional businesses, they'll build something to make money and they'll never, really focus on what they want to do. They'll focus on like market fits, or they'll focus on, how to get this thing in there. And maybe that's why, in my opinion, Atomic Assets did so much better than these other projects. Is you guys, when you were doing it, when you were building it, you were looking at all these other projects. We kind of have done the same thing with some of the projects that we work on. You're looking at all these projects, and you're just like, why can't I do this? This is ticking me off. I want to be able to do this, and I can't do it. So you went away and you built it, and now you have this amazing project that has taken on a life of its own, taken on a community of its own. That it's just amazing. So I hope someday, that you get to build what you want to build. I hope someday that you get to use the thing that you built because you wanted to use it.
I think that's a very common theme among everyone that builds something that they want to use. They get so caught up in building that they can't actually use it, but building is fun as well. And actually that goes back to the very beginning when I said I was grateful for this environment where I could do this, because once again, we easily spent 2,000 hours working on Atomic Assets before we launched, not making any money with it. And the only reason why we were able to do this because Fabian and I were both computer science students. We have parents that support us. We didn't need to make money, so we could essentially throw all of our free time into building this. And that's why I can also totally understand, not everyone can do this. And we've been in a situation where we didn't need to worry about making money with it. And now maybe that is maybe it's correlated. Maybe we're just really lucky that we are in this position where it's taken on this life of its own without us ever having to do anything except building it. We're in this fortunate situation where we're starting to make money, but if we had focused on the money, that this would have never happened.
Yeah, I think that's probably something for other projects that take on as a design principle as well, right? If you're making
I'm not 100% sure if it's good general advice. Maybe we just got really lucky.
That's a possibility. Well, that's always possible, but it doesn't seem like luck, right? It seems very connected to me that you're building out an ecosystem and that's your focus, right? You're building out the platform upon which other people can do things and make money, and they have, right? That is something that is really, really working for people, right? And so if you're creating that economic activity in a way that works for the entire ecosystem and community that's doing it, well, that should make you money, right? And you guys have the little percentage thing or whatever, but you've set it to, you're not gouging, you're not, you're taking a tiny little percentage off the top of each transaction or whatever. And so you really only benefit if there's a large amount of economic activity, which you guys then go back to the other design principles, build the ecosystem that allows for that to happen. And I don't think that's luck at all, right? I think you guys just kick fucking ass. I mean, that unless somebody shows me evidence otherwise, that's what's actually happening, right? Yeah. And somebody said above, humble Jona, and we do love you for that, but denied, you're a badass, and that's the end of it.
There's still some luck involved that people were, and when we started building Atomic Assets, people weren't that into NFTs on Wax. When we released Atomic Assets, that's just when GPK came out. That's just when people got really into NFTs. Like, there was luck involved there. There's no question. And then still, like, if we hadn't done it at all, then like all the luck in the world wouldn't have helped us. So it's like a combination of both things.
Luck is the mere mastering of timing. That's all luck is.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of truth in that.
I don't know. Like, you could be right, but would you have built Atomic Assets if Garbage Pail Kids wasn't being released? I mean,
we started building it before we knew. Yeah, we started building it when we didn't even know.
That's why, like, anyone watching this, if you have an idea now, like, obviously you want to iterate it, you want to test it, make sure it's a good idea, talk to people, that kind of thing, but that's definitely a thing that I've been learning, in every product, whether it's Chirp or whether it's working with Jimmy or Uplift Art or the new Minecraft stuff that we're building. Just build shit. Just build it. If you have a good idea, test it out with a few smart people. If they like it, start building it, because there's so many sort of knock-on effects that come from having things become real, in the world, right? So like suddenly Atomic Assets is real. And GPK comes out, and then everything else starts happening, and people realize that it's freaking slick AF, and things happen. If you're not doing anything, if you're waiting, if you're sitting on it, nothing will happen, right? There's nothing that luck could even attach to if luck is a thing, right? There's no way that you could see the potential benefit for that if you're just kind of sitting on your hands. So do shit.
Yeah, and I would
even over. Sorry, Jim.
I would even add to that, going back to Jona's original introduction, if you're in this space and you're doing things solely for the acquisition of more money, then that's fine, if that's what you want to do. But I mean, that's, in my opinion, kind of how the old world was oriented. And there's a lot of unhappy people in the old world that migrated to this space to be free. And if you want to be free, then I think that you should, trust in yourself to surround yourself with people who are positive, who can, add value to the ecosystem, who can enable you to do what you want to do. I mean, I'm a content creator, and I hate that word, but I write. Like, I'm not a video person, but it's really takes a really long time for me to write, and it's kind of stressful. I can come on here and talk to you, and you can empower me to say what I want to say, right? Like, Jona's a developer, a builder, but he found Fabian, and it seems like it was the perfect fit, because one of you is good on the I'm going to get myself into trouble here. One of you is good with one part of the technology, and the other is good with the other part of the technology. Sorry, I don't want anyone to twist my words. But yeah, I think that's like, it's really amazing. So, and I have an answer to your question, which you, the future is pink. I like it. I have an answer to your question, which you posted earlier. What are you grateful for? And I think for me, I'm actually really grateful to have Jona on here today, because we've communicated a little bit a few times in public messages and even in chats for various projects, but I've never actually gotten to know the real Jona, like the history behind Jona, where he came from. And my day job, I'm kind of like a historian. Like I'm a history professor at times in my life. I have been, and I think that story, the background story of where people came from and what they're trying to achieve, and is a really big part in how successful they have and their dreams will become. So I'm really happy to know you from a perspective of real person, as opposed to just the face of a business. And I searched really hard to make the cover image for you. And that's kind of when I first started to get to know you. And I don't want to out you, but that's not your crypto cover image. And if you want to tell the story, I think that'd be really cool, because like I was quite shocked about your you called it a hobby, but I think you're more than a hobbyist. So what do you do in your free time before you started building cool shit on crypto, Jona? What was your hobby?
Yeah, I played / still am playing poker. Like not for the last year because all the rooms are closed. But that's something for a year, around 1 year. That's where I really did it a lot, and like drove to the casino for 2 hours for like every second weekend, played poker there. And it really is a hobby. Like I never did it to make money, but still I like being good at it. And then like the money is just a result of that.
That it's funny because that picture that I pulled, like the headline was something like, Jona Wilmsmann. I could just butchered your last name, but gets eliminated like in 18th place, and like I mean that was a pretty good take at 18th place, I would say. I mean that was definitely worth the 2-hour drive there and back.
well that actually was on Malta, so that's more than a 2-hour drive. That's a flight over there.
Okay, fair enough. But it was cool, yeah. So and I can honestly say, I'm not going to out you, but if you go searching, you can find out that
anyone that's the one thing that you find on Google, and that's like I have this name where I'm pretty confident that no other Jona Wilmsmann exists in this world, and poker news websites, they usually put like all 200 names of a tournament result in their articles, and that's why all the articles that you find about me are from poker, because like even if they don't mention me at all, I'm still in there somewhere in place 156. Jona. That's why you find a lot of poker stuff about me.
I love it. It was a great photo, and I cropped it. I sent you a message first, like, can I use this? But I cropped it. But the chips that I cropped off the bottom, I mean, they could be worth €1. I don't know, but it was a pretty big stack. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's in the tournament, so they're not worth money directly. Actually, that tournament, like when I got knocked out there, I think I made €7,000, but first place is like 150,000, and I was 18th, so that's pretty close. That, in a way, like the more money you make in poker in a tournament, the more it hurts, because you get really, really close to that first place, which is with all this money involved. but still, I mean, that's still, I mean, you need. That's why I understand the importance of luck, because no matter how good you are in poker, if you're not lucky in a particular hand, like you're just going to lose. And I still play poker knowing that even if there's a lot of luck involved, like in the long run, skill will still make a difference.
Well, I can say from the NFT perspective, Atomic Assets is the house. That's all I'll say.
I mean, there. So what is this bet pink? D said sounds like time for a bet pink rebirth.
Probably not.
Okay. All right.
I mean, yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, it's not like you guys aren't, what's the word? Busy.
Yeah, we're busy enough right now, and like all this gambling stuff, there's gambling law involved. We probably need to move. I need to go to Malta again to get a gambling license there so that we can get it all sorted out. But like right now, we're happy enough with Atomic Assets. No need for gambling directly.
Maybe in the future we can look forward to a special Atomic Hub, Atomic Assets, Pink Network poker deck that can only be used online in NFTs with backed wax tokens. The total speculation, no inside information. It's never going to happen.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
All right, I've been getting a bunch of your gratitudes up on the monuments just for fun over here. Keeping them short is good, Nelson. So I'm just gonna use the last one.
While you do that,
yep.
Jona, Corey and I have been talking about this, and our whole goal for this series, for this show, is to try to bridge the gap between community and projects, community block producers, community creators, developers, things like that. So as Corey mentioned yesterday, we don't just want to have you come on one time and disappear, right? Like we really enjoyed having you here, and we're hoping that you'll become like I know you're really busy, but we're hoping that you'll become like a semi-regular guest. I mean, if you got time to come, monthly or quarterly or even bi-yearly, whenever you have time. We would love to, have you on anytime. So if you ever have any announcements or updates that you want to share with the community and talk about, please feel free to reach out to us directly too, and we can schedule in. If not, I or Corey will just pester you like in a month from now and try to get back to them.
That'd be good. What's before we break, and I'd like to just throw on my thanks for being here too. I'm actually going to show everybody the monument that a few of you guys are actually on now, which is kind of fun in here in a minute. But what's something that this community could do for you guys and Atomic Hub?
Build your own projects on atomic assets. Like that's what helps us the most. If you build cool stuff on atomic assets, that helps us, and hopefully it also is something worthwhile for you. I mean, I'm sure it can be. All
right, will do.
I think that sounds like a challenge, and I'm going to. We're going to talk about this the next time you come on. I want to know what cool shit the community has been building.
Well, and what's for a show like this, and we're sort of in the first phases of doing this or whatever, right? But like, I'd love to get your thoughts on a really engaging, multi-dimensional thing that we could do as part of this show that would be extremely valuable for the community that that's kind of building around it. You know what I mean? And then would also be really valuable for other communities, because that, like, I see us as like a node of nodes, right? Like, there's all these networks out there. We want all those networks and projects talking to each other and knowing each other, right? Like, we want to build that community, that sense of like, I know who Jona is, I know who that crazy Michael from EOSIO USA is, that kind of thing. So it'd be really interesting to see if we could tie all that stuff together in an actual project on Atomic Hub.
And actually, let me say one thing: the community on EOSIO is pretty amazing. Like, I've not seen that when I developed Ether stuff, I've not seen any of that. Like, wow. If you go into an EOSIO channel and you ask a question, you get 5 people instantly trying to help you, and that's pretty amazing.
I've noticed that too, actually. That's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right, so we got all this stuff is up in game. When we do open the uplift, you'll be able to come by the cathedral and see all these things, because we're collecting them. All these things are full, which is kind of fun. I cover this floor before too long.
Already quite a few.
Yeah. This is about 5 weeks. But yeah, there'll be a bunch more before too long. Anyway, Jona, thank you very much for joining us. That's it for us. We're not going to be back until Checks Watch tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, so tomorrow will actually be our 1 week anniversary, and as mentioned, it'll be our second, not our 1 week anniversary, but our 1 week weekly anniversary. Right. So tomorrow will be our second follow up episode to Media Moguls. So we'll have Ken Bozak on, which should be fun. I mean, it's always fun. And Thursday, our regular EOSIO Weekly update, we're going to have Matt from Costa Rica Crypto, who both Corey and I know quite well through various means. So we're excited about that, because we're hopefully going to be able to bridge the gap between what's happening on EOSIO. He's involved a little bit with recently Polkadot and Ethereum, so we can have some cool conversations about that. And on Friday, we're going to have bonds manifest from prospectors and tribal books on. So tune in for the rest of the week, and hopefully we'll have you back again sometime very soon, Jona.
Thank you for having me, guys.
All right, cheers. Have a good morning or afternoon or evening or regional